Going to start themselves off on CT, and can they come back into this series? Can they tie it up 1-1 and walk away with at least a point? Or are Endpoint going to take the second map to get 3 points on the board and start fighting their way towards those finals? Definitely a lot to do for them, but a 2-0 here would be the well, a fantastic way to start things, as it is going to be an aggressive push down to drop. Pete, unfortunately, well, does find Keto. I didn't think he was going to be able to, but he does, and that's going to be opening frags from Endpoint yet again on this pistol round, performing incredibly. And it lies down to these three members on Fish, just trying to rotate round and try and find anything with these USPs.
Bomb goes down, and Robin will find one onto Mighty Max to try and bring it back. But there are no defuse kits, so now is the time. If they're going to make the move, they need to start taking down heads, and Robin's going to put himself in fire. Does find one before he loses his life, and now it's only Singo here. Mate, looking for the shots, and he's going to find one. Bloody Stroof! Now he just needs to find Schluzzer, and he'll be in a good spot. Oh, it's good stuff. Good stuff for Australia. Singo, do it. Oh, he's gone and just thrown it out.
Can't quite find it there, Singo. Come on, man. Do it properly for all the Aussies. Throw a shrimp on the barbie and all of that. How did I do? Is that alright?
I might just leave.
Well, Endpoint do carry on their fine pistol form.
3 out of 4. It's pretty impressive stuff.
That is pretty impressive, starting as they mean to go on into the rest of Cobblestone. And the Deagle's now going to come out for Fish123. Can they find those important early frags? As you can see Cinder just lurking around this smoke here, seeing if he can find anything. Might just pop flash through and push out. No, instead he's just going to throw it and back off.
For Fish, they've opted in for the CT side here on Cobblestone. At one point, it was the favoured side, but at the moment, it's kind of the terror side that most teams favour at this stage. It's interesting that Fish have decided that. As, you know, it's not necessarily favoured. It makes it hard for themselves. They've just come off a loss, but if Kita can find this backstab, it gets stolen away from him. It does make things a little bit easier, but they've not protected the B side. They've put so many people towards A just to try and find a single frag, and now the T's are rushing in. Sliggy's going to be taken down, but finds Mighty Max in the process, so it is a good start for them. Luzzer, in fact, gets caught with his gun out, and only PT left alive. It's all been turned around, and time is a ticking. 44 seconds, finds Kita here, needs to find more, but 14 HP, it's not a great health line for him, and he's going to be taken down once more in the second round. Endpoint throw it away, and Fish123 will find that upset.
Ugh. How many times have we been in this situation, Endpoint? Come on, get it together, boys. You saw they just tried to burst out onto that B site as they thought it was a little bit of a welcome mat. They thought they'd have the gun advantage, but unfortunately they weren't able to push onto the site. Just those big kills coming out from the likes of Sliggy with the Deagle. And now Sliggy's going to buy up the Mag 7 to try and go for a shotgun defense here, as Singo's backing off, a little bit worried about being pushed on A long, and he should be worried. There are 5 members barreling down, and now he's behind them. Can he find anything onto Imi? Imi, listen to you. Put your headphones on, man. Can you not hear anything? As Cinder comes from behind, finds 2. His teammates get 2 more, and that just leaves Luzzer on his own. And Endpoint, after winning that pistol, find themselves in a 2-1 deficit. And I wonder if there was just a lot of communication going on there for Tactician. Couldn't quite hear those footsteps.
It's upsetting when you lose rounds like that for Endpoint, especially when it's the backstabs coming through, as you said. It's really on yourself, and you need to try and pull your head out of the gutter when it comes. So Endpoint, they're on the pistols once more. They're going to be for this round. They want a bomb plant if they can, so that they can buy up, make a nice strong buy for themselves. But in this scenario, Fish123, they've started on the CT side, and it's a good start for them. They've got that Mac 10 on Sliggy, who's just going to be holding out this close angle on B long. See if anyone pushes the smoke. Endpoint, no guns, so it's not really worth talking about what they can do to win it. What they need to think about is how quickly they make plays. On that round, when they push towards the B-site, SEO, nice and toasty. When they pushed towards the B site, they hesitated. They held back on B long instead of rushing all out and taking control. If they pushed out, maybe they had it. Actually, this is a little bit better, as now the Mac 10 has been traded over, and oh my goodness, is this going to be Endpoint taken away? No, just Mighty Max. Mac 10 has the Glock out, needs to reload it and gets flanked. So Fish123 will find the 3-1. But Endpoint need to be a bit quicker. That out onto the B site was successful because they rushed out onto the B site. They did it previously. Then maybe they weren't throwing away rounds when they should have been.
Yep, now they've got guns to work with though, and Orp going to come out for Luzzer. We saw him hitting shots onto Dust too. If he can do this more of the same, he can find that early pick, allow Endpoint onto a site, and perhaps they can start getting some bombs, start getting some rounds on the board. They really need to start to. Big round, of course, for Endpoint. As Fish still working with just the one UMP, as Cinder is going to take that. He doesn't need to buy up. UMP, a very dangerous weapon. Some slight controversy in the scene about the UMP. I wouldn't be surprised if there's eventually some sort of changes. It'll probably be how expensive it is. I expect it to go up ever so slightly, as it is quite powerful for its cost. But Cinder taking such an aggressive angle and has the utility to work with as well, just to slow and frustrate this Endpoint lineup, who really need to make a decision as to where they are going to be pushing. Moment, they're more than happy to just try and check their angle, see if they can find anything as Keita tries to spray down through to mid. Does find two as well onto Luzzer and Pete. They both tried to challenge him at the same time. Somewhat of a silly decision. And now Endpoint find themselves in a 3v5, and this is going to be extremely difficult. I mean, what do you do in this kind of situation?
You just need to make a play. You just need to go for it. And Mighty Max SEO, they've certainly done quite a bit of thing. Not only have they found their individual 1v1s, but they were across the map. It means that Fish123 don't have a good grasp on where the bomb is going. It could still be going B, but they're starting to get an itch that it might be going towards A based on the timings, and Keita is here, gonna drop the bomb. 30 seconds, gets taken down by SEO, but here comes the CTs, and the Ts, they have to recover it. They don't have any smokes to be able to smoke off this long door. Flashbang goes out to push Shaq back, but Fish have the advantage here with the AWP up in this position. Wow, SEO just takes him instantly. Pre-fire works out. Endpoint somehow get the bomb down and manage to take the round. I don't know how they did that.
Well, this is the thing. I said, what have you got to do in that situation? And it was just Endpoint staying a little bit patient, hoping that Fish overextended when they had the advantage, which they did. And SEO being able to pick up that frag on B doors as they pushed out ever so slightly too much. And now Endpoint back into this. Imi will just move on into the round with the UMP, so expect a little bit of aggression from him. He's probably going to be playing that entry role. And now Endpoint, they know that they can outfrag these Fish players, so expect something slightly different in this round. Maybe we'll see some sort of execute come out onto this B site. Sliggy once again with that Swag 7, just trying to take an aggressive approach here. I mean, last time they pushed into him, he was able to find one frag, but they're going to be pushing into Cinder this time, who is completely flashed. As Pete opens the frag, and Keita is going to come in and see if he can chime in with any kills of his own. Does find one, looks for the second, can't get it. Mighty Max will respond onto him. And now it's just Shaq, Sliggy and Robin left as the sole defense here for this Fish lineup.
And you've touched on a really important point there, Dan. Endpoint have discovered that they can take these one-to-ones against Fish. And that does change the way they play their game. Sure, Luzzer does get sprayed down with the AWP in hand, but Shaq is in a disastrous position because he's got people all around him. Robin somehow manages to jump down and finds a frag of his own, but then again, he is Robin. We don't expect anything less from him. So there's 2 versus 3 for Fish123. It's definitely doable. They've got position here, but with Sliggy falling makes things hard, and Robin has to fight his way through 3 terrorists, and it's not going to happen. Endpoint should have won the previous round based on the position of the CTs. Fish123 was slow to execute their positions, and they lost out because of it. This time, Endpoint, they hold ground, knowing that Fish123 have made the aggressive play early, and they're able to execute out on it. Isolating the various players, finding those one-to-one battles, and bringing themselves back into this 3-3 scoreline. Now just pistols on Fish123. Let's see if Endpoint decide to test the B site, maybe just look for positioning on the different players, see what Fish have in the textbook, but it's likely that they continue their aggression towards the A site based on the fact that they want those long-range battles.
And this is the situation. Last time we saw Endpoint on Cobblestone, these are the kind of rounds that they actually threw away on both T and CT side. Even when they had the advantage, even when they had the guns and they were against eco rounds, they somehow they weren't able to pull through. So I'd like to see a little bit of a different approach for them. It's Robin. He's just going to take out the Zeus here. Does work like a shotgun from close range. Will find SEO as well. That just rubs salt in the wounds, and he picks up an AK. It just drops from the heavens above. And that's frustrating for Endpoint. They do just have four remaining players, and this is the situation I'm on about. Even with the advantage, they somehow find themselves ever so slightly behind, but with that information, they're now slowly edging their way onto the A site. Cinder in a good position with this 5-7. That 5-7 can be so deadly as Robin now comes in, does get a frag. Cinder gets one of his own, so we're back to it. It's a 3v1. And look, suddenly, Endpoint, they've thrown this all away. It's just Pete remaining, the new player. Can he find the frags? Can he get the bomb down? It is the key thing here. Just needs to slow it down ever so slightly. See if he can get the jump on someone. Doesn't want to be surprised, but Fish have played this absolutely phenomenally. I've got to give credit to Robin going for that Zeus play as Pete almost gets spotted out by Keita and he can't find the frag. So Fish somehow pulling off that round. Endpoint. This is what I literally was just talking about this. These are the rounds they need to be winning. And, I mean, is a push in to drop dangerous in that kind of situation, or is that just crazy stuff coming out from Robin?
It's crazy stuff coming out of Robin, but you do have to respect the fact that the close range is probably the Fish's best bet when they have the pistols in hand anyways. Endpoint, they purchased up with utility like it was a normal round so they could make an execute, and then they didn't make an execute. I think that Endpoint are disrespecting their opponents just a little bit too much. If you need to play those pistol rounds like they're normal, because these players are talented. Robin certainly hits his shots, he gets the AKs, and Keita's backstabs have been on point so far in this series, lurking just phenomenally. So Endpoint, if they're going to not throw away rounds like that, need to start using their utility like it's a normal round, start making those set plays, throwing the smokes, and just making Fish's life even harder. Players think because it's pistol, they don't have to do these things. You still do. And when you don't, you get punished.
Yeah, unfortunately, punished is the word. And I wonder whether Pete can now punish this Fish123 side. As Imi gets one of his own as well, so now they can push in. They've got the advantage. They've got some weapons. A lot on Shaq here. Can he stop this bombardment onto the A site? Can't find anything as Luzza gets the frag despite not being able to find a second. Out so much on him. He's such a huge player and he can always find those frags, but he's in a very disadvantageous position. And somehow, Endpoint, they flip it on their head. Both of these teams just back and forth, and I don't know whether it's about respect or if it's just about throwing it away, but this is certainly lining up to be a very interesting game on Cobblestone.
Endpoint this time, before they showed where they were going, played slowly and waited for Fish to try and make a proactive play. And because of that, they were able to find those two frags which opened up the A site. And this time, they had the smokes, and they threw them. They made sure that Sliggy and Robin didn't have the easiest of job finding frags, and being to go down. But they are going to size things up 4-4 here, and Endpoint are going to be pretty happy that they did so. Money-wise for Fish123, it's not a solid story. There's going to be guns purchased up, so they should have full arsenal, but maybe lack on the utility front. We'll have to see who gets a defuse kit. 3 players, Shaq, Sliggy, and Robin, and the utility's there. But if they lose this, they are going to be on that save buy. Endpoint need to test this B site now, I think, and just try and change things up a little bit.
Yeah, change things up indeed, as it does look like they are going a little bit faster towards B. I like what you said about the utility as well earlier, with Endpoint not using the utility, which is interesting considering in the boot camp when they were up against Impulse, it was Impulse who just weren't using their utility at all. So you'd like to think Endpoint would have learned a little bit from that, why they were so successful in those matches against Impulse Gaming. Is they've just set up shop here now at A-Long. They're not going to push aggressively as Smoke is going to be down, so they're not going to be able to get onto that site very easily. Shaq once again taking this aggressive angle. It was a Mag 7 earlier. This time it's going to be a UMP as Cinder is getting brave and trying to peek as the smoke is slowly dissipating. And Pete, I wonder if he's saying to his teammates, well, let's just go for this one. Come on, let's switch things up a little bit, lads. We've been very slow. It's not worked out. Let's perhaps try and burst onto a site.
I love that Cinder's Astralis star there is floating up high, and now he's going to start spraying on down, but the major winners are not going to bring him any good luck here, as PT will find the kill. And now the B site, they need to start spreading out. Shaq going to be up close with UMP, finds the head of PT, but will get taken down immediately. And looking good for Endpoint as they're going to take down Robin as well. Only Keita left alive, and he's by the big doors. Bomb going to be planted in Endpoint. They test the B site, and it's successful. Now they just need to hold on to their lives.
Yeah, that was better from Endpoint. They took their time, they waited, they were patient, they executed, used their utility. As Keto is just going to try and escape with his life here and some sort of weapon. It's an awfully picked up, but he won't be able to escape the grasps of Mighty Max. As Fish now are going to have to eco, and it should be, I say should, be a 6th round on the board for Endpoint, but they threw away an anti-eco earlier. So now I just think we need to see exactly what we've just seen in this round. Them to be very slow and them to execute just as if they were facing against weapons.
They ended the round with just 2 flashbangs left in their arsenal. It means that they threw everything, and I want to see the same thing happen. It is a pistol round, but the last one went disastrous because you didn't respect your opponent. So Endpoint, throw that utility, force the fights into a scenario where it favors you, and make Fish's life misery in this eco round. Because if you throw it away again, then you're basically almost just giving the game to Fish, because Fish are winning gun rounds, they're winning eco rounds. What's going to stop them from just winning a game when you're giving them so many advantages?
Yeah, exactly. They can't let up here, Endpoint. They really need to press on, put a decent amount of rounds on the board on this T-half. They are a very strong CT side, Endpoint, especially with players like SEO and Mighty Max with their rifles. And of course, when Luz is hitting shots as well, you can put him on either site and he's going to make a big difference. As Endpoint are taking this a lot slower. They're not going to go for the drop approach this time. I wonder why. They don't want to get caught out by a Zeus this time, as Sliggy just trying to get any information possible. He has spotted out Mighty Max. Can't get the 1-tap onto him, though. Well, 2-tap, as it were. As Mighty Max will pick that one up, and now they can push up onto this site. There is going to be no resistance, as the rest of the Fish side are on this B site. And I guess there's nothing to lose now. They might as well go for the retake. As Shaq and Cinder are going to make their way around through middle instead. And 2 versus 5, there's very little hope, as SEO has spotted a wild Shaq, but Cinder comes in to save the day, and SEO is punished for going for a little bit of a flashy play.
Yes, that's that just reminds you of some amazing moments we've seen, and players want highlight reels, don't they? But you just can't afford to throw things away. Not when the games mean so much for your ESL UK Premiership chances. You need to be winning every round you can, and Endpoint needs to be just a little bit more disciplined. But this time, they used their smokes. They got into the site, they forced the CTs out, and they made sure that they couldn't be approached upon. Cinder is going to rush on in. Does take a bit of damage from 2 health left. Okay, Cinder just trying to get tricky and find Tactician a little bit unaware, but the footsteps were heard. And so 6-4 now, guns there for Fish123. They found themselves an AK in the process, and they're going to purchase all up. But it's just 1 defuse kit, which means that if Fishpoint do get the plant down, the retake scenario for Fish123 may be a little bit weak.
And SEO, I guess, was just trying to get a little bit of money with the knife kill.
And he's getting fame, isn't he?
They're trying to get fame. I mean, crazy stuff, but if it had paid off, we would have laughed. We'd have a giggle as Luzzer gets the opening frag onto Keto. I said how important it is. He has that AWP in his hands. Keto is going to be shut down immediately, so a good start for Endpoint. Now whether they can press on, they can pick and choose really. They can decide, okay, it should be a relatively weak site, either one that we push. They may go for mid control nice and early, because then they can push to either site accordingly, and Robin is going to get slightly aggressive here on a long. Is Mighty Max going to spot him out? Cinder's there as well, so we are going to walk into a little bit of an engagement here.
SEO's on the other side of the map, so they're just splitting, throwing utility. When Molotovs go out, then it can force the CTs to think that they're committing, and Robin's going to spot out that the bomb is in fact towards the A site. Now he can try and protect it with his life, and he's going to do so. 2 kills go his way. Looking for Luzzer, it's a 3rd. Tactician, shut this man down. He's on fire. The Dragon King once more getting a highlight reel as the 4th comes through, and it's only SEO left on the B site with his Losum. His team dropped around him. 30 seconds and 2 to go through. It's a possibility for SEO that he shuts this one down. They're all looking the wrong way. SEO needs to land every shot.
He does indeed. He's going to be walking into Robin, who has a potential ace. Will be Robin's 2nd 4K of the season. Can he find the 5th? No. Yes, he can, yes, because he gets the Molotov kill. He roasts SEO into the barbecue, and that's going to be an ace for Robin, and those are the kind of the plays that this man needs to be getting. He needs to pick it up and get Fish back into the game. He wasn't doing it in Dust 2. He was struggling ever so slightly, but he has been the big man all season. He is the one who's been putting up those kills, and that ace is definitely going to be a confidence builder for him.
Yeah, certainly. And the criticism was that he just wasn't performing like we've seen him in previous games, and now he is certainly doing so. Top of the leaderboard, and an ace to his name. It's great stuff from Robin. And now Endpoint are going to be shaking in their boots. The Swedish Wonder is on fire now. and he is looking to try and pull this one back for Fish123. Let's see what Endpoint can do. They failed to make that split work for them, so they're going to go back to the drawing board. A bit of a slow play once more, but this danger room is a little bit scary. It has been dangerous so far, and Keita sitting in it with a UMP. PT going to check, but he loses his life for it. He spots the feet of Luzza. Keita going to try and take the kill. Mighty Max comes forward, but drops the bomb in his instant. Keita's just looking for his own 5k, but Cinder's going to come through and take it away. Says, no, we only give those to Robin. And now Endpoint, with just 2 men left against 5, they're going to have to consider what they need to do to get some more T rounds on the board.
The problem is Endpoint are just trying to take these individual battles against Fish123, and it's not working out well. They're peeking one by one, and they're getting shut down immediately. And it doesn't really matter at the moment if you're peeking into Robin, if you're peeking into Akita or Cinder, they're all hitting their shots. And Fish starting to gain a little bit of confidence once again. Just when they needed to as well. It was slowly looking like Endpoint were going to start pressing on here, start putting lots of rounds on the board on their T half, but Fish finally making things count. And I expect Imi and SEO now just going to hold this one, try and save this weaponry through to the next round, as they know how important it is going to be to carry 2 AKs through. Big question is whether anyone from Fish is going to come hunting. The answer is yes, and it's going to be Robin, and he's probably the one player you don't want to be facing when you're trying to hold an angle. Just walks around and wham bam, thank you ma'am, puts a bullet right between his eyes.
You did touch upon a great point earlier, Dan, is that Endpoint favour their CT side much more than their T side. They've got 6 points on the board. It's very successful, really, when you think that they are a CT favoured side. And so they've always got that in their back pocket. That, you know, whilst the score is tied up and they're throwing away rounds like 2-2 Fish that they possibly shouldn't be, they have done a great job of getting points on the board. 1 more point, and they've got a fantastic start towards their CT side. If they take their pistol round like we expect them to, then they're going to be fairly formidable going into the second half. But for Endpoint, they're not done yet, and they're going to challenge drop. There is no one actually watching it. Robin's just dropped out of it, going to throw a nade, but it's not going to do anything. And so now Endpoint have the map to decide where they want to go, A or B, and they're going for A, but that flashbang is huge. And Robin's going to find SEO looking for Luzza as he comes out. That's a double! Oh, T-Sac takes it away, in fact. And now they're going to just shut down Endpoint. It's Mighty Max knife in the floor as he knows it's all over. Let's see what he can do in his last testament nut.
Extremely frustrating for Endpoint, just pushing into Robin. Robin really performing outstandingly at the moment. And the thing is, we speak about Endpoint and how they're a CT-sided team, but I'm also worried because Fish are fantastic on the T side as well. The thing about Fish is any one of those 5 players can play entry.
Yep.
Even so, it doesn't matter who goes down. They'll be like, all right, okay, now Keita, you're going to play entry, you're going to push in for us. They can just hit their shots, and their individual talent is so successful. That was why I was surprised they did lose Dust 2. So it will be a question of whether they've just warmed up a little bit now, and if Cobblestone is going to go in their favour. As Endpoint, despite being 6-3 up, suddenly are looking at 6 deficit.
And with the pistols, it's unlikely that it's going to be around for Endpoint. Once more, they've got men towards the B site. Their success has been towards A so far. Maybe they're forgetting it. We did say that they need to go back to the drawing board and remember what their successes were on Dust 2, and eventually they did so. Tactician's going to spot out Robin. Tries to take the battle, and it's not going to happen. The AK definitely beats out a P250 any day.
I'm going to understand why he tried to take the battle, because if he just does hit those shots and takes down Robin, then suddenly it's a winnable round. But unfortunately, if you are going up against Robin, it's going to be very difficult to do so, as Mighty Max is trying to land some shots of his own with the Deagle, can't quite connect with anything just yet. He's a little bit hesitant of people coming from behind him. He is just going to walk into Keita's AK. Shaq gets one for his own. Does eventually fall from Pete. Pete finds one, but I don't think that's going to do anything. I think it's probably just going to be a little bit of formality here now as they finish things off ever so slowly. Can we see anything crazy coming out of Pete? He does find 2, but can't find the 3rd. Robin eventually comes in to say, nope, you're not getting anything crazy. I'm the only one who's having an ace this half. And 8-6 for Fish. I want to see something different from Endpoint. I want to see them perhaps go for maybe a fast B from long, or I really don't know. It seems like they've run out of ideas ever since putting that 6th round on the board.
The danger area is where they're losing rounds when they go towards A, so if they're going to go for it, they need to make sure that they split it from mid as well as from A long. Make sure they got the utility thrown in there. A couple Molotovs and a flashbang should do the trick. But they're not looking like they want to challenge A anymore. B site is the core, as they've got 3 towards it and the bomb. And they're rotating men away from A as well as we speak. And it has been dangerous. Robin has been such a deadly force in drop, just finding frag after frag, and maybe he can find a bit of damage with this HE as well. PT goes down to 71. So for Endpoint, they do need to change the pace. Maybe a rush is right, but can you really rush into Robin?
I don't like the constant drop attempts. It hasn't worked. Yes, they got into drop once, but they've always walked into Robin, and now they're just walking into Shaq as well. It's just easy pickings for Fish, as Robin is going to push through the smoke and does find Ezio as well, so we're back to a 5v3. The rest of the Endpoint gang are barreling down long here, but they're just going to be greeted by so much utility from Fish that they have to back off ever so slightly, and Shaq comes in, finds 1, finds 2, finds a 3rd, and Fish finish the half 9-6 after such a strong start from Endpoint. It just seemed like they ran out of ideas. Robin, though, really been that man to watch. 19 kills from him.
And it's the same scoreline as we saw on Dust 2 at the half, but reverse this time. It's Endpoint who are on the deficit, going on to their CT side. Maybe they can make haste of it, take that pistol round, and all of a sudden it's a 9-9 game. But they need to be checking their angles. They need to be finding the frags. They cannot let Robin, Cinder, or even Shaq, who stepped up this game, to really go on a tear, or else they're in trouble. It's not looking positive, really, for Endpoint here with the half score and kind of just the play as well. You know, the half score looks good, but their momentum, their what looks like their visible mentality doesn't look too strong. So they really need to take this time on the half, pause, regroup, you know, maybe get some Coke. Just
Coca-Cola, right?
Boost the energies, you know.
Coca-Cola, just specifying for anyone who was wondering at home as we now move into the second half.
I forget that the UK scene in Coke is a thing.
Whoa, what are you on about? Coca-Cola's amazing. Or Coke Zero. I like Coke Zero too. As now we push on into the second half and we swiftly move on, as Imi is going to be the first man to defend here. And Endpoint have been so successful with their pistol rounds so far. They've won 3 out of 4. Can they find another one? As Mighty Max is going to just dance around here, try and survive for as long as he can. He can't find the one tap onto Sliggy. So now we're back to a 4v4. Robin does a little bit of damage, and that could prove to be vital later on in this round, as Fish are trying to find their way onto a site. It does look like it is going to be a site they have chosen, as Ezio trying to go for the backstab. It's down to 3-on-3 as Pete comes in, finds 2 of his own. Will he look for the last onto Shaq? There's so much to do for him now. There is a weak Imi, but Imi should just back off. And actually, this is very doable for Shaq. Finds 1, finds a 2nd as well. But the bomb is defused. So despite great fancy pistol work from Shaq, it is going to be the round going into favour of Endpoint. And again, they win a pistol round, Darcy.
They do, and it's great stuff for Endpoint. You know, whilst they do lose everyone in the end, it's almost like Pete died on purpose just to say, haha, we win. Even though you kill me, we win. Yeah. Just a bit of, you know, mockery towards...
Rubbing salt in the wounds.
That's it. They do find the pistol round, and it's great stuff. We just need to see them hold on here. UMP's in an M4 on PT, and PT's going to go up against Shaq and takes him down immediately and says, no more. Your streak is done. This is exactly what Endpoint needed to start the half off, taking Robin down in such quick fashion as well. SEO is going to be feeling pretty confident about that. I do want to know where Mighty Max went. You know, maybe we'll put some missing signs up, because he hasn't turned up so far in this game. He hasn't been, you know, making those crazy plays on Dust 2 that really won that first half for Endpoint here. And I feel like he starts stepping up and making those plays again, then Endpoint are going to storm the second half.
I mean, CT side is definitely better for Mighty Max. That was when we saw him come to life really on Dust 2. So perhaps more of the same. Perhaps we will see some slight aggression that will pay off for him. But even with Endpoint, even with Mighty Max, if he's not like up there, the fact that you've got players like Ezio who can step it up, Luzzer of course as well. And I mean, Imi, the thing is with Endpoint is when they were struggling early on, it was players like Mighty Max and Ezio who weren't putting those rounds on the board, those points on the board. Instead, Imi was able to step up, and as in-game leader, I mean, that's not exactly where you'd expect him to be, but if your in-game leader can do so, then that's always going to be fantastic. It is actually Pete who's top fragging for Endpoint, so the new boy is doing some real damage, as Fish now do have AKs to work with. Just 4 of them though. Kita is only going to have the Rec 9. utility to work with as well, but they are going to be smoked off. And I wonder whether they are going to push through this or whether they should be patient. I definitely like to see them just bide their time a little bit and not do anything silly here.
What do they have? 2 smokes, HE, and a couple of Molotovs. Means they could try and take control of the B site all at once and try and rush in. There are 3 CTs there watching, and the drop area is now fairly secure. They could drop in if they wanted to. PT is holding this outer position. I'm not quite sure if his shoulder is visible just behind that wall. I have to assume it's not. But he will reposition nonetheless. Fish123 looking to just whittle down the clock, and this is what I like by them. On their T side, they do wait for that 30-second mark before they start executing towards the site. It just sends shivers down your spine when you haven't spotted anyone for an entire minute and a half. And now, finally, they're going to make their way towards the B site.
Yeah, flashes probably will come through very shortly, and Luzza going to be the first point of contact. We'll just push out as that flash comes through, finds Shaq, and now the rest are going to push into another flashbang. Luzza tries to go back for more, but he's punished as Sliggy and Robin find their own kills. Mighty Max gets one onto Robin, so now it's 3-on-3, and just UMPs to work with against these AKs. Quite a scouting round, I've got to say, so the damage they're doing is ludicrous, to be honest, as Tactician, SEO, the last 2 survivors, and SEO isn't going to be able to win that battle. Always difficult against the AKs, but I think that's worth noting. The fact that they had those UMPs, it was definitely going to be a difficult round for them. They just wanted to try and destroy the economy slightly of Fish. And it's not going to be a fantastic round for them, but they do take away 2 AKs.
Yeah, Luz's flashbang kill was great on long. A really nice proactive play coming out of the CT side just to try and catch them off. Then he went for a second. That's when you get a little bit greedy because they've already had one lost. They're going to be expecting that maybe a rush comes through. They've been blinded on out, and Sliggy is clever. Just hides his face and make sure he doesn't take any, of that flashbang so that he can challenge Luzza. And as you say, they keep their UMPs, but now they have real guns, and Luzza's going to show that the AWP is where it's at as he finds Robin straight off the bat. So Endpoint with real guns now. I say real guns, it's still a little bit of a mixed buy with FAMAS and a UMP there for PT and Mighty Max respectively. This is really the first gun round, you could say, as the one before didn't really count. I do wonder if Endpoint knew that the AKs were coming out early based on the plan. You have to assume that they do. And they don't want to invest any money into M4s unnecessarily. Yeah,
I think they were more than happy to just keep the UMPs, as I said, like somewhat of a scouting round, that if they lose, it's not too much of a problem, as it doesn't hurt their economy, and there's always a chance as Tactician SEO open up the killing as... How did SEO even get that kill? SEO just swung round and took down Keita there, so very quickly, in a blink of an eye, I didn't even really know what happened, but Endpoint get that one. And now Fish123 need to rework, replan, go back to the drawing board. And the drawing board is only going to have pistols laying next to it. But we've seen what Fish123 can do on these pistol rounds. Endpoint need to be careful. And I've really got to say that Luzza getting that opening frag with the AWP was huge. He can be that player that can go on either site and pick up those frags with the AWP. So good work from him as SEO once again finds the opening frag. But unfortunately, Keita comes in to get one of his own.
Yeah, you say only with the pistols, but historically they have upset Endpoint consistently on these eco rounds, and Keita's going to do so again as he finds his second and picks up an M4 for himself, but Luzza's been on point with the AWP. A solid rock, really, for Endpoint throughout both series now, and 10-10 is the scoreline. The guns will come through for Fish123. Round 21, a chance to crown the leader so far in this map. In this second half, Endpoint looking to try and take over. I don't want to say for the first time because they did win the first pistol, but for the first time in a while.
Yep, Endpoint now with a chance to take the lead, as you said. SEO is going to take a little bit of an aggression here on Haystacks. I wonder if they're going to spot him out up here. It's going to be one of the angles you do check first, but Keita doesn't come in to try and trade straight away. Eventually comes in and saves it, but in comes Imi to get 2 with a Molotov. He starts the barbecue and he lights the fishes. I don't know if you like cod, if you like salmon, but something was a burning and something was smelling good.
I have a couple of those shrimps, mate.
I wanted to make an Aussie joke, but I was just going to back off from it, but now you're saying it.
We call them prawns in Australia. It was actually an English comedian who came up with put another shrimp on the barbie. But hey, why not? Emmy certainly roasted on up. And now for Endpoint, their hopes of this round is looking good. 4-2. Clock is ticking as I did say Doc. That was the misstep.
I heard something.
I will point that out before all eyes in the studio glare at me. But yeah, no, it's good. Looking good for Endpoint. They just need to hold their angles, allow Fish to make the move here, and we'll see what Fish do decide to do.
It's alright. We've all been there.
Yep.
I've said Glock before, and that's obviously a weapon rather than clock. So we make mistakes. Don't worry about it.
We're only human.
I mean, I'm not sure what you did say, but it's fine. Robin gets the frag, though, onto Imi as he is going to push in, and there is a chance now for Fish123. If Robin can continue his fine form, might find Mighty Max with his pants down, but unfortunately for him, Mighty Max is more than capable of taking that frag, so it's just on Mr. Shaq himself. And it's not Shaq as in the basketball player, it is Shaq, the Fish123 player.
That was really impressive from Mighty Max to take that 1v1 against Robin. You know, his CT side is much better than his terrace side. It really shows off. And having a strong CT-sided player on your team is really important. The T side is historically where teams have a star player really turn up, but when you can have someone do that on the CT side, it really throws a spanner in the works for the team. So for Endpoint now with 11 on the board, the Tech-9 train rolling into the B site, flashbangs galore. Maybe they lose it here. Historically they do, but Luzza's going to hold fast. 2 kills him, 2 kills for PT, and Luzza tags somehow Sliggy but doesn't get the kill. Mighty Max finishes it off. 12-10, and now Endpoint are slowly but surely inching their way towards a series win.
Yeah, and Luzza hitting those shots is always going to be so difficult for Fish to get onto that site. I thought he was going to get third, perhaps just hit the elbow skin and didn't quite finish off the kill. Someone looked at me weird, but what is it you call your elbow skin? Is it your weenus or something like that? No, it is! There is a name for your elbow skin. I think weenus is what it is. And actually, if you did get shot with an AWP through your weenus, it wouldn't hurt because...
It would hurt?
Yeah, you could... If you pinch your weenus, it doesn't hurt.
I think...
Let me pinch it for you.
Yeah,
You can try it.
Pinch my weenus. Get your hand on my weenus and start pinching.
It's going to be first point of defense, does find one on Takita, but Slicky comes in and responds. It's 4v3 as Shaq comes in, gets one of his own, and now they can start pushing in. 3-on-3, every chance of doing so, but Luzza is one of the remaining members, and he does have that AWP, and he is very effective with it. But, you know, Imi in a very interesting position here. Just watches them walk onto site, but unfortunately Cinder takes him down, so there's every chance of Fish winning this round.
Yep, Endpoint have dropped the ball here. And Fish123 in a fantastic spot. Only Mighty Max to clutch it on out. He has to start popping heads. He's going to look for Cinder. Does find the kill. Now looking onto Shaq. He knows where he is. He's jumped on up and he knows that he's going for that castle position. That's the second for Mighty Max. He doesn't know where Sliggy is. He expects him to be on the balcony, but he's right there. And Sliggy will take him down. Mighty Max didn't expect there to be 2 on the bomb site. And really, that's great play from Shaq. Making the rotate over, giving away his life. Just confused Endpoint there. Confused Mighty Max of the whereabouts of the last T. Mighty Max, unfortunately, just not quite able to find that final third frag to clutch it out.
Yeah, and we spoke about how Mighty Max wasn't having a great T side. Really had a chance to step it up on this CT side, and I thought he was going to pull it off then, but unfortunately just not close enough as Endpoint now needs to try and put another one back on the board. Perhaps they're ever so slightly letting Fish back in here. And it's been very back and forth. Dust 2 was the same. Such a close game. Such closely contested teams. Equally skilled teams. Slightly different ways they approach the game, but it's certainly been a tight affair. And now Endpoint, you can see, taking that very harsh angle over in middle, but no one from Fish is going to be playing ball just yet.
Wonder if Sliggy will be able to do much with the Tech-9 here. Certainly held the round together, but he's got his back to danger. SEO and Tactician on there. Hasn't spotted SEO out yet, still hasn't spotted him, and SEO will find one, looks for Cinder and drops the bomb. That's great info now for Endpoint, as they have to expect a third's coming in. It will be Keita. Drops into the smoke. It's clever play by SEO. It means he can get up close and personal, but he exposes his head, and Keita will find the frag. A 3 versus 3. PT on the site looking for Robin. Will drop, and it's all falling apart for Endpoint. It's only Luzza left alive with the AWP, and it's likely he'll want to save that one into the next round here.
Yep, you definitely think he's going to save it. Against the likes of Keita, Robin, and Shaq, it's always going to be difficult, but perhaps he's going to go for it. Someone did question how I pronounce Shaq. I mean, I always went for T-Sac. That's what I used to say, and then I got told it was Shaq. Now someone's saying it's T-Sac once again. I just don't think the players even know what they want their names to be pronounced as. So I'm going to stick with Shaq. So if anyone has a problem with that, DM me. I probably won't reply. And now, Luzza, he is saving it. And he's going to move on to the next round with the AWP and Endpoint. Well, Fish have clawed this one back in. We're suddenly at 12-12. And what a game we've got on our hands. Could we possibly even see an overtime, do you think, here, Delsey?
Anything's possible so far. With Endpoint clawing their way back. It's a good start for them. It shows that their CT side is pretty scary. But Fish don't want to lose this. It's so important that they stay in that top 2 position, and losing a series outright, their first entire of the season, was not really what they want to be doing. So they're going to take any advantage they can. Endpoint with money in the bank, going to just be able to buy up pistols. They don't want to force right on down. Luzza going to hold on to the AWP and maybe can make a key play as he pushes towards mid. But all the T's are towards the B site, Dan, and they're going to rush straight on in. PT up close, blinded out. Keita going to spot him out and take him out as well. Now it is an open sight here for the Fishers.
Yeah, Imi gets one onto Keita. And interesting that Luzza had changed his positioning, didn't hold the B site that time. It could have been a completely different round if he was on the B site with that AWP. He might have been able to find 1 or 2 frags. He has been hitting those shots so successfully. Probably going to be a save once again from Luzza, but all to play for here for Imi and Essio.
I actually think it's good that he wasn't on the B site, because it's unlikely that he would be able to find all 5 frags, and he probably would drop the AWP. So Luzza has saved 2 rounds in a row now. That's a lot of money that he's keeping in the bank for the team. They are going to have a gun round. Endpoint didn't really expect to be winning that round against Fish here. They did try their best, but with the limited arsenal, it's not going to be an easy task. And so saving the AWP into 2 rounds means that they don't have to purchase another one. And he's going to be quite high up on the money. Look at that, 7,200 for Luzza. Means that he can purchase a gun for his teammates, or if they do lose this round, Dan, then they're going to have a second chance heading into round 27. But it's all important, all to play for, and the match has been paused. We'll have to see whether it's technical or it's tactical.
I expect it's probably a tactical. I couldn't expect a technical pause. That would be something crazy. I mean, I'm really struggling to call this one now. I was leaning towards Endpoint when they were 12-10 up, and thinking, yeah, this should be an easy route through, but unfortunately, they haven't been able to string out any more rounds. They haven't been stringing them together, and they've allowed Fish to claw this one back in. And do you think anything's going wrong now for Endpoint, or Fish just hitting their shots a little bit better?
Fish are certainly hitting their shots, but Essio and Mighty Max aren't on the top of the frag board for the team, and that's where you expect them to be. Luzza's up there as an in-game leader, and PT, the new boy, whilst he's certainly showing that he has a lot of worth for the team, you don't expect the new boy to be out-fragging the vets of the team. So it's a hard task for Endpoint. Really, Essio and Mighty Mac need to start waking up here.
Can I pinch your weenus now?
You can punch my weenus.
Okay,
there you go.
See, look. Does that hurt?
Oh,
Does it hurt?
that is lovely.
But it doesn't hurt. It's like it's just an area of skin. I've had 3 DMs, by the way, telling me that it's T-Sack rather than Shaq. I mean, clearly someone lied to me, and I've been pronouncing his name wrong. Perhaps I'm pronouncing it right. I'd like to hear from T-Sack or Shaq himself. So if you're watching, which you shouldn't be, let me know.
If you guys disagree, just pinch your weenus.
Pinch your weenus. It's how I vent frustration, actually. Mid-game, I just start doing this because it doesn't hurt. But it has been a great match so far. I think we're in for possibly an overtime here if this keeps going back and forth as it were. Both teams, when they look like they're out ahead in this race, suddenly they just get reeled back in, and it's going back and forth. Who's the key kind of player for you at the moment? Who's really standing out? Who's really the shining star?
Robin has stepped up in this game incredibly. The ace was fantastic, and almost every 1v1 he wins. On this T side, however, he hasn't necessarily done much, but Luzza on the other side for the team has been a strong point for both series, and he's going to find 2 straight off the bat. This is so important for Endpoint, Dan. Stop tweeting. You need to watch this, because right now, Endpoint have pulled it together. Their bomb might be down, but they've certainly shown up. Luzza is sniping it all away, and Essio going to find that kill, and his PT. This might be the retake coming for Endpoint.
You say I'm tweeting, but you're there pinching your weenus as Singo now goes down, and that is going to be 1 on the board for Endpoint. Right back into it. As you said, that's exactly what they needed. Perhaps that pause has come through, giving them the momentum swing. And this really is a slobber knocker of a game. I know, I'm excited for the end of this.
I'm very excited. This has been such an incredible series, a really hard-fought battle by Endpoint, and it's real testament to them. They know that there's a chance that they can make it to the finals on the 18th, and they want to book their ticket there. Really, they just need to find those 3 more rounds, and they've got it.
Yeah, I've got it. Simple as that, really. Just 3 more rounds.
Well, and then 2 more wins. But we won't we won't look to the future because right now the present is more important.
Yeah, they just have to play what's in front of them.
That's it.
And forget about what's going to happen elsewhere. They just need to do what they can if they want to make those finals. Not worry about results going on elsewhere, as once again, SEO taking a relatively aggressive approach, but Robin comes out of nowhere and surprises Mighty Max on Rock. I wonder whether SEO is going to be able to perform a surprise of his own. Is he going to be the magician? He finds one, can't find the second though. Cinder always gets that trade. And now Imi comes in to try and chime in. He's going to have to back off ever so slightly. It's not going to be the frag coming through from Fish. They do have the advantage, but they have had to back off. So Endpoint have regained a little bit more control of the map. And they need to decide what they're going to try and hold here as they go for a very ridiculous peek in middle there. That just plays into the hands of Fish. And with just Luzza as the lone survivor, you'd like to think this is going to be a round going in favour of Fish. And still, I can't call this one. Absolutely incredible stuff coming out from both of these teams. Just when you think there is going to be a slight swing of momentum, momentum hammer just gets swung back. Is there a momentum hammer? If not, I'm going to invent one. Oh, pendulum, yeah. That's a good band. Oh yeah, that's what it's called.
Yes.
Thanks, mate.
Alright. Yeah, no, Endpoint, they're panicking, aren't they?
A little bit.
That was a massive panic play, you know. Every time Tactician peeks his head out to try and find a trade when he knows someone's there, I shiver because it hasn't gone well for him. This time he keeps his head, but then Endpoint, they wanted to be proactive. You can't be proactive against the T-side when the T-side know exactly what you're doing. You're just falling into their hands, playing their tune. And Endpoint need to take a step back from the scenario that they're in and just breathe through these next couple of rounds. Because if they drop 2 more, then their ESL UK Premiership hopes start to fade away significantly. A tie is not acceptable at this stage in the season.
No, it'll be extremely difficult. Still, I think mathematically possible, as we spoke about earlier, but very improbable. As now Robin and his team are pushing through, and they have found their way into drop once again. Robin in the previous round did catch Mighty Max off guard, and I don't think Mighty Max is going to let that happen this time, as Imi is going to be there watching the drop window. Can SEO get some better frags this time? He was taken down, wasn't able to find those 2. I mean, he's doing his job, he's finding that opening frag, but if he could just find that second, that's the difference maker, as he is going to get slightly aggressive. He's being surrounded here, he's being swarmed by these piranhas, and he bursts in, but it, again, finds that first one, can't find the second, as now Fish can push through aggressively to A, and Imi has rotated around though, and that has allowed Robin free roam over here.
PT is back well. No turns around. Tactician gets sprayed on down and then finished by Sliggy and the Tech 9. Cinder gonna find PT as well. This round has collapsed here for Endpoint. Luzza and Mighty Max, the final 2, are left alive, and Mighty Max gets flashed into mid. Gonna find Cinder, but not able to translate the kill. Luzza has to save. And that round with Ezio, as soon as he knew that he was getting pushed in from long, he peeks danger, but then commits to danger. I feel like that was just a little bit of a mistake. Just a misstep. Peeking danger's fine because you want that information. Have they pushed me yet? But when you then sandwich yourself between 4 terrorists, it's very unlikely that you're going to fight your way out of that if find a couple of frags. And so SEO kind of just committed himself to death at that stage and made life incredibly difficult for Endpoint.
Speaking of difficult, look at this money for Endpoint now. If they want to survive, if they want their ESL Premiership hopes to still be alive, they need to do something spectacular here, but it's going to be extremely difficult. Perhaps this is curtains now for them, as Fish have the chance to put this game to bed, and it will be a 1-1 draw, but a 1-1 draw is not going to be enough for Endpoint, unfortunately. As now Fish looked like they were going to go for an aggressive push, but I think what you touched on was nice. I mean, well, not nice, but weird. SEO, as he's taken that same position every round, that it kind of swarm him and pincer him, and he's been shut down every time. Yes, okay, he's got that opening frag, but he's not been able to do anything else with it. So perhaps maybe more of a passive angle he needs to go for if he doesn't want to find himself in those situations. But I mean, SEO is a phenomenal player, so when he does pull it off, it's fantastic. It's just hard to do when you're in this kind of pressure situation.
That's it. You know, you play that long position, try and get a frag or two, and then when you know that the push is coming, you kind of have to fall back and allow your teammates to do the work at that stage. PT, I think... Oh, he didn't get spot, actually. Robin can't quite see him there. X-Rays pulling tricks on me.
I don't know if he caught his elbow there, because he definitely was focusing on that angle. But either way, Pete is going to push out now, and Mighty Max finds 2 frags somehow. Eventually, Sliggy comes in to stop any crazy antics happening, and it's just Imi on his own to try and keep this game alive. He's going to burst down a B long here. T-Sac's going to be there, though, to finish him off. And Fish123 win! Cobblestone 16-13. Endpoint's hopes of reaching the ESL Premiership finals are somewhat thwarted. There is definitely still a very, very, very slim chance of them doing so, but 1-1 is not going to be enough in the end. And, well, credit for Fish, because after a Dust 2 performance where they really didn't look like they wanted to play the game, they've come back